Hi everyone, welcome to this is the second live stream I'm doing on the subject of inner reconciliation, and this time we're going to deal specifically with the issue of overwhelm, something I get asked a lot about. So, what we're going to do is very similar to last time. If you haven't seen it before, I have a previous video where we go through and do a process on stress and anxiety. So we're going to take a similar approach today, but we're going to apply it to a different subject. So just as with the last time, if you have any questions or comments that come up while we're going through this, I hopefully will be able to see them here, but feel free to leave in a comment if you have a suggestion or something you would like to address with a similar type of exercise in the future, and I'd be happy to do that. Last final note here is that if you have any stress or anxiety or overwhelm, specifically around the subject of money, I do have a free course that goes through a lot of these types of exercises, but much more in depth and with slides and different exercises and all of that stuff down in the description. It's completely free, and feel free to just sign up and participate in that at any time, because that's something I get asked so often about and people are dealing with so often that I just wanted to create that. So, overwhelm. Let's get into it, shall we? So we're going to approach this in a slightly different way. So what I want you to do at first is just start bringing your attention to whatever level of stress or overwhelm you're experiencing. Whether that's a lot, you have a lot going on and feel an almost visceral anxiety about the amount you have to deal with, or if it's just the more you could call standard, we're all busy, we all have a lot going on. And just become aware of how active that is for you at whatever level it is at. And now, what I'm going to bring some attention to is that if you've tried to meditate or do something as sort of a respite, a relaxation from this before, you may have found it difficult. And one of the things that can be challenging about this is part of us is very active and feels like we have a lot to do. There's a lot going on. There's a lot that needs to be dealt with and addressed. So sometimes even the very act of, okay, I'm going to sit down and meditate, I'm going to sit down and try to calm myself down, is seen as almost adversarial. It's like the exact opposite of what that part of you that feels overwhelmed and feels, hey man, we got to get to work. Right? It might feel like the least practical, the least useful thing you could be doing is sitting down and meditating. Or to take that a step further, part of you feels like there's a lot to deal with, a lot to do, and it can take the act of meditation as coming from this certain posture, which it often is, as be quiet, I'm trying to make this part of me be quiet. Stop thinking about all the things we have to do. So you can be butting heads. And so I want to bring this forward before I even say something like close your eyes or take a deep breath, because that could immediately be perceived as adversarial in that way. So what I want you to experiment with is to, again, put your attention on that sense of overwhelm and welcome it in the sense that we're saying, okay, we want to find what a good, useful solution is here. We don't want to simply avoid our feelings or have a temporary distraction. And we don't want to ignore whatever in me feels like it has a lot to deal with, that it's holding on to a lot or trying to make sense of or trying to make work. Right? So I want you to experiment with inviting in almost a welcoming way all this feeling in you that is managing a lot. It feels like you have a lot to think about. Maybe it feels like you have a lot to keep track of. there might be an almost sense of like holding things together, or trying to keep tabs on the endless to-do list, right? And so just notice how active that is, how hard it's working, how much is going on, and see if you can look at that with almost a sense of empathy. To simply observe all of that activity in you for a moment, not from a place of trying to make it stop or trying to make it be quiet, but just from a place of observation of how much you might actually be dealing with right now. And see if you can set the intention to be, okay, I want to work with this. I want to help the cause. I want to help everything function and be able to manage this better. And to not be using extra energy or adding tension if it's being used in a way that is not helping us. So see if more of you can kind of get on board with that approach. And now from there, let's take a deep breath now. And all you're doing as you're taking these deep breaths is just still staying present with all that activity that's happening. It's like your breath is just being used to keep you engaged in the experience. And now with your next deep breath, let yourself feel it move through the body in whatever way it does. So let your awareness become more physically oriented on what your body is experiencing right now. We don't need to abandon or intentionally try to not look at a feeling of overwhelm if it's there. It's welcome to be there. As you continue to breathe and keep the attention, just keep your interest a little bit more focused on the body. And now notice the amount of tension that's being held. Notice where you feel any sense of clutching, any sense of tension, especially while you're still welcoming all of the thoughts and everything that might be giving you a sense of overwhelm in your life. We just want to see how the body is responding to that. And continue to put your attention on those parts of the body and keep breathing, but just simply in a way like you're supporting it. And I want you to feel into that tension and feel into that sense of everything your body is doing and whatever that sense of overwhelm is communicating to you. And just check in with maybe the body, maybe some of your feeling of overwhelm actually feels like it needs to be stressed, like it feels like it's holding things together or like it's managing something. So I want you to approach it in that way of let's not say relax, let's not force anything to relax. Instead, become interested in how the body's responding. And then pose it more like a question now. Okay, why do we feel the need for this tension? Not coming from a place of, yeah, you don't need it. You're just genuinely asking, okay, what's going on? What are we holding on to? What are we keeping together here? What are we bracing ourselves for? Right? And just let all of that actually present itself to you. Whether it is actually communicative in some way of thoughts and feelings and images, or it's just simply a posture you're taking. and just simply being present with that. Now that you're establishing more of this connection, let's pose another question, which is, okay, is there any any energy or tension we're using right now that may be just held into place by conditioning? That if we look around at what's happening for us right in this very moment, is it okay for it actually to relax a little bit more than it is? Knowing full well that if it's needed to come back later, it totally can. But for now, just pose it as a genuine question. Is there anything I'm trying to manage in my physical body, in my thinking, in any of my emotional experience that's actually able to relax for a moment? That might not need to work as hard as it's been accustomed to working. And then just continue to breathe and check in with the response from your body and your mind and your emotions. Is there any tension we're holding? Are there any thoughts we're thinking about, or things going on in our life that we're kind of thinking about in a certain way, that while the intention behind them is trying to keep things together, might not be necessary to use that energy? And you can just ask them, is it okay to have a moment where these relax? Again, they can return later if they're needed. But for at least a moment, is it okay for things to relax a little bit more deeply? And take another deep breath. And invite again any sense of deeper relaxation, both in your mind and body and emotions, while communicating that we're not doing this to abandon whatever we might be dealing with in our life. Would it be okay to explore relaxing and releasing some of the energy to see if it might actually make you better equipped, might actually support the cause even better than the tension that we think is helping? So again, pose that as a genuine question, in the name of science, right? Would it be okay to relax a little bit? Might it be possible that we can handle all the things we might genuinely have to handle and the things we might be dealing with? Might it be possible to handle those as well, or even better, if we're allowed some moments to relax? And perhaps paradoxically, while you are inviting this relaxation, also if there's any very kind of frenetic, active energy of all the things you're overwhelmed about and dealing with, you're not pushing those down. Welcome all of the activity and energy that might have also been resisted or locked. So it's like you're just simply relaxing the grip if it's okay to do so. So you're not grabbing onto anything, but you're also not pushing anything away. So you're also allowing whatever active energy might be there, whatever adrenaline, whatever else has been going on, full permission to move through your body in whatever way it feels it best needs to. And periodically, take a deep breath and again bring the attention more now on the physical experience of what's happening. So there might be a variety of things going on. You're simply directing your attention to be, let's say, most interested in the body and any extra tension that feels like it might be okay to let go of, or any support your body feels like it might need to deal with all that energy that's either coming up or has been there, or is perhaps even revealing itself as you have been giving it this space and relaxation. Another thing that might feel good if you do have a lot of activity going on is to simply tap on your collarbone or EFT points if you like those. Basically just giving some touch, giving some support to the body as it's dealing with a lot of energy. And now again, acknowledge everything that you might genuinely have going on, and all the stuff you have to deal with, and all of the ways your body and thinking and emotions have been, working hard to kind of manage all of that. And just simply invite it again. Okay. Is it possible there are elements of this we can actually manage better by relaxing? You might even think of it as, surrendering some of what you're trying to manage. Is there anything we're trying to manage that's not really in our control? Or anything we're trying to manage that we're holding tension about in this moment, but in this exact moment, there's not actually anything we can do about it anyway? In which case we can give it some permission to relax. So notice all of these are in the form of questions. You're not telling any part of you that doesn't want to relax or think it might not be safe to relax or let go of some of what it's thinking about. But we are checking in. Is there stuff active that would be okay to just surrender to? And now see if you can expand your awareness to include everything now. Your body, the thinking, the emotions, all of the things that you've been dealing with. And see if you can almost continue to zoom out. Just become aware of the aspect of yourself that's just aware of all of it, that's taking it all in. It can see the events in your life, it can see the way your body's dealing with it, it can see the emotions, it can feel the energy, it could describe it all to someone else. And just see if that creates any more space for all this energy that you're dealing with. And if so, see if you can relax into that a little bit more. And just continuing to take some deep breaths as you do that, or at least a little deeper than you might normally. And if it feels good to you, you could simply hang out here if you have more time. Otherwise, you can almost just relax back into your body. Relax back into the room. And ask if it's okay to bring some of this posture, some of this way of being with what's happening back into your life. Saying, okay, if there's times we need to be active or need some energy or, have to be busy, okay. But if there's excess, if there's energy that we're using or holding on to or thinking about, it's actually spinning the wheels more than it's being productive, it would be okay for those things to relax even while I'm out doing my life, out doing the things I have to do. See if it's okay for your focus, your active mind that's always aware of everything it has to manage. If it's okay for it to not be trying to juggle everything all the time. And if it's okay to at times simply just deal with what's in front of you. Knowing that if something needs to be dealt with, it will present itself. And lastly, see if you can feel into any sense of being supported, whatever that means to you. Let's call it something just larger than your thinking mind that's trying to manage and juggle all the things that might often give you a sense of overwhelm. Okay, so let's take another deep breath and maybe stretch out if it feels good. And feel free to let me know in the chat here if you have any questions, comments, concerns as you explore that. Another deep breath and maybe stretch out if it feels good. Okay. Hopefully everyone's just in a good space here. And I'll just give it another moment in case anything pops up. Otherwise, hope this is useful to you. Again, if you want to explore some of this tension and stress and other things that are specifically related to money and finances, there's, like I said, that free course down below in the description, which goes into a lot more depth and has a lot of these types of exercises, but on all different aspects of, money and our feelings and things we're dealing with in our lives around it. So you might enjoy that if you like this way of working with yourself. And yeah, feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions, comments, or other topics you'd like to do one of these guided rounds on. All right, thanks everybody, and I'll see you next time.